The Catholic thing I bring up, so I was raised in that faith, and it's a curious faith. Because, well, for instance, every Sunday I went to communion, and I witnessed the miracle of the Eucharist. Now, for those of you who aren't familiar with this, the miracle of the Eucharist is when the priest says a blessing over the wafer, and that wafer becomes the literal, bear in mind, the literal flesh of Jesus Christ. And the miracle is, despite becoming the flesh of Jesus Christ, it still looks and tastes like a fucking wafer. And I went there every Sunday, like millions of Catholics have. Every Sunday for centuries I go back and I eat Jesus. I eat the flesh of Jesus every Sunday, like they'll do. And he never runs out of flesh. How fat is Jesus? I mean, the miracle was walking on water. It's a miracle he walk at all, the wobble-bottom fat ass. That's what I had to nail him to the cross. Ropes weren't going to do it. By the way, true historical fact, crucifixion used to last 3 days, Jesus, a couple of hours. That's because even nailed up, after a while the cross was buckling under his weight and starting to come down like that. So they rolled him up the hill, tried to get him into the tomb, but it wouldn't fit, so they just left him over the door. A few days later, the women came by. Unless you read in Mark, then it was an angel. I'm not saying there's inconsistencies or anything, but a couple of them came by, they rolled the bowl in the back, and they looked in the tomb and they went, wow, it's a miracle, Jesus has ascended. He's there! You just rolled him away, he's fucking there. When's the last time you saw a boulder wearing a nappy? There's a man there. Now I do notice a temperature drop. And there are people who would say, well, you wouldn't dare say the same thing about Muslims. And I say to those people, ha! That's where you're right. Not because I'm afraid. I'm not one of these people who thinks, you know, don't tell a joke to a Muslim, they just explode. No. Not all of them, just the genetic ones. The converts have to strap it on, like these guys. Oh. Knock, bang. You know, I'm not afraid to tell Muslim jokes. It's just that I personally don't see anything in the beliefs of Islam that doesn't make perfect, rational sense. I'm sure that bloke did get my winged horse and ascend to heaven. I recognise the shortcomings. I know on the face of it, it seems as plausible as finding a Mormon at a wife swappers party. Which in turn is as likely as drawing blood into a Jehovah's Witness. Did I miss anyone out? Buddhists. The future's bright. Whatever. Anything else? Jews? Oh! Someone had to say it. I don't have any Jewish. I only know one Jew, and he's a friend of mine, so I'm not going to do jokes about the Jews, because I like where I live. The last thing I want is to come down into the living room in the morning and find that he's fucking barricaded half of the living room and I'm going to go through a checkpoint just for a piss in the morning. It's all fucked up, man. I mean, we went back to the crucifixion thing before. I mean, I don't know if you knew this, but Friday the 13th, blame the Catholics. It goes back to the Last Supper, because Jesus was the 13th at the table at the Last Supper, and he was arrested on the Friday. And that's where Friday the 13th comes from. And that's what the Catholics call Good Friday. Because only the Catholics can look at the day that their deity made mortal was whipped, tortured, beaten and killed and go, that was a Good Friday. That was a Good Friday. It could have been worse. He could have been a Protestant. But I don't want to make this just a religion bashing thing. I don't know. I mean, I've got other groups. I don't care. Any vegetarians in here tonight? Really? Me too. Sorry, but I am. There you go. So there's no jokes about you guys. Except we probably disagree on why we're vegetarian. I'm just too fucking lazy to chew meat. You might have this whole moral thing going on and you think we've got a bond and all that. We've got no bond. I couldn't give a shit. I would happily kick the fuck out of a pig for half an hour just for the chuckles. Well, I'll just give it to some other motherfucker to eat afterwards. Not my Jewish friend, but I'll find someone.